Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators of the Spokane Sangha. We have several. I'm sitting next to Marty, and that's really fun. And the very beginning of May, on Thursday and Friday, May 1st and May 2nd, I will be out of town, and our wonderful Sangha members, Maggie and Josh, will be providing meditation for those days while I'm in Boston. I'll be in New England visiting places where I grew up. Today, for our practice, I'd like to invite everybody to cultivate space for an instrument of peace known as the reverent approach. The reverent approach. And I'm just going to offer a moment of silence for you to allow some space and some openness in your own heart and mind for this instrument of peace. What does a reverent approach mean to you? What does it mean to me? So let's take a moment of silence and just allow that to roll around. Friends, for the month of April, we have been exploring the Four Noble Reminders in Buddhism. You have a precious human life. The nature of reality is impermanent. Karma, and the folly of samsara, which is simply the ways that we cycle in our habitual ways of being, acting, and thinking. And today, this week, we've been exploring karma. And really, however you've been conditioned to think about karma, if you think about it in terms of reward or punishment, good or bad, ripening, unripening, over-ripening, just making space for all of that to explore. The bottom line, in a very simple way, the definition of karma is action. And a way of thinking about your karma is my actions matter. My actions matter. There are results to my actions that have power to harm and power to bring peace and goodwill. And that's an extraordinary thing to hold and to ground into. And so this morning I want to talk about it because I was contemplating this in my own meditations, and I was thinking about benevolent power and my karma. And suddenly what came to me was the book that I'm writing for Satyaseva and all the effort that Lo and I have been putting into it to edit it and to really make it something worthy of selling, and offering to people. Something that people can hold and feel is a real instrument of peace. And I'm quite devoted to this. And yet, every single day, I encounter an internal voice whose single goal is to make sure I hear that my efforts are stupid, audacious, not helpful, and I might as well just stop what I'm doing. So much doubt and insecurity that I encounter every single day. And every single day, I invite that voice to tea. I used to avoid that voice, but now I invite it to tea. I acknowledge it, and I keep going. So clearly, I've learned in some way not to be governed by that voice, not to allow that voice to determine my action, but to keep drawing from a different wellspring of benevolent power that enables me to keep acting in ways that are audacious and unusual. And when I came out of my meditation, I was looking outside and I was looking at one of my favorite trees on the farm. And I was just so grateful for it. And even though I had doubt, because I write about trees in Sate Seva, and it feels a little bit strange to do so, and nevertheless, I'm like, no, trees are guardians of wisdom, and they model wisdom for me. And in that moment, I remembered, oh, right. This is all about, I'm being invited to explore small wonders, coincidences, synchronicities. Little Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs to remind me, keep going this way. Yes, yes, keep going. The tree that I saw today was one of those morsels. And then out of the corner of my eye, I noticed this book that I have been reading, and it's called Love in Action. And this is by Thich Nhat Hanh. And this is a collection of some of his early writings on nonviolence and social change. And I brought this book with me on retreat, and I've been transcribing some of the things that I've highlighted and writing about them on my computer. And I thought, okay, I'm going to look in this book and see about karma, actions, and actions of love, and see what that brings forward in terms of small wonders. So I picked up a bookmark that happens to be a postcard made by Raven, who's here today. And it's a beautiful image of birch trees, which was my dad's favorite tree. And the message of this is, may you be grounded, may you be whole. A small wonder. A little coincidence. A nugget of synchronicity. And I smiled. And I thought, yes, right. This is my continuation of my actions. Keep going. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to flip open this book to whatever page, whatever lesson Thich Nhat Hanh wants me to hear. And this is what he said. These are his words. I've lost my brother, 1982 writing. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, I've lost my brother is from a public talk given at the Interfaith Reverence for Life Conference in New York on June 9th, 1982, in connection with the opening of the United Nations Second Special Session on Disarmament. The conference was sponsored by the Temple of Understanding, an educational agency with headquarters in New York, founded to enlist the spiritual resources of all religions in building a better world, drawing on inspiration from such figures as Albert Schweitzer, Mahatma Gandhi, and Thomas Merton. And for those of you who are not familiar with Thomas Merton, he was a Trappist monk, a Catholic Trappist monk who wrote amazing, amazing work, and he befriended Thich Nhat Hanh. His most famous work is The Seven-Story Mountain. Thich Nhat Hanh continues, several autumns ago, I walked up to the pine tree in my backyard, and I asked it one question. What is institutional violence? The tree did not answer right away, so I sat at its roots and waited. The backyard was covered with brilliantly colored leaves. The air was fresh, and suddenly I forgot that I was waiting for an answer. The tree and I were just there, enjoying ourselves and each other. After sitting for a long time, I turned to the tree, smiled, and said, "I no longer need an answer." Then I thanked it and awarded it the Grand Transnational Peace Prize. When I told my friends this, one asked, "Do you give the Peace Prize often?" I did not know how to answer. I wanted to, but it was difficult. Then another asked, "What was the tree's answer to your question?" Again, I did not know what to say, so I encouraged her to go out and ask the tree. As a novice monk, I was taught to look deeply at a cypress tree, and I learned that looking at a cypress can be very helpful. In fact, it is often easier to contemplate a cypress than to talk to a person. Before talking to a human being, watching a cypress can help. Soon, I will organize an international conference on tree watching. All of the conferees will sit in the forest and just look at beautiful cypresses and pines. Then in workshops, we can discuss strategies for tree watching and also principles for appreciating human beings, even those who do not look or think exactly as we do. When I told this to the pine tree, it began to laugh. The tree was thinking about a particular conference held at a Hilton hotel dealing with the problems of the third world. Not a single third world representative had the opportunity to speak because eloquent spokespersons from the first world spoke for them. It was too difficult for them to listen to real third world representatives, especially those whose ideas did not fit in with their own. After I read that in my living room, I went outside and I went to Grandfather Black Locust, one of my favorite trees on my farm, and I listened. And I wondered, what are you trying to ask me? And I smiled when I heard the tree say, "Julia, darling, who do you think you are, standing in your own magnificent way?" And then I felt like it had awarded me a Peace Prize. And I share this with you as a way of working with doubt, insecurity, as a way of opening up to the wonder, the little nuggets, the little morsels that remind you to keep going with the actions that bring forward your peace, that help you reduce harm to yourself and others. These small wonders, these instruments of peace, are no coincidence. They pop up, they appear, they are always there, mind you, vying for your attention. And when we finally are awake enough to pay attention, we are reminded that this life is precious. Its realities are always changing and moving. Our actions matter. And to awaken to these small wonders is to be alive, to feel refreshed and renewed moment to moment to moment. The trees model for us how to root deeply in our own knowing and to branch widely in spaces of beauty and uncertainty, all the while staying centered in our strength, in our innate intellect, in our Buddha nature and bodhicitta, our strong yet soft, open heart. Despite the storms of doubt, despite the rains of insecurity, maybe even because of those aspects adding nurturance, amending soil, changing us, strengthening us, humbling us. As I was leaving the farm today, I was driving by several of the other trees around the property, and I smiled to be reminded as I heard them say, "We clean this air for you. We need each other." Your actions matter. The action of coming to a peer support meeting to recover the whole of who you are matters in ways you may not even be aware of, in ways that are only tickling your consciousness with a whisper. But to recover your whole self is to engage and enact your benevolent power. And this is a gift guided by small wonders, always vying for your attention. May the actions of our participation and our presence in this journey and on this journey of recovery serve as a beautiful transnational award, a peace prize. And may you accept it with joy and share it with delight. end our practice today with a dedication of merit that is by far the most fundamental breathing meditation. It changed my life. It's something that I do every single day. And we'll end our practice today with that. First, I'd like you to arrive to this moment with reverence. Your life here, with everything that's going on, is rare. Your actions matter. Your power is benevolent. And the invitation is to wake up to just how precious it is. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the precious present moment. This is a wonderful moment. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for making this a priority. The impression you leave in this space is a powerful source of inspiration for me personally. It keeps me going. It keeps me sharing. It helps fuel my confidence so that I don't succumb to the negative voices keeping me small, limited, and dull. All right, tree huggers, have the beautiful, beautiful day. Enjoy it, and we'll see you next time. Namaste.